Good afternoon, Factotum Life. We are out with our truck and our trailer. Kind of a big day. We had a lot going on. I went and put new tires on this truck. First, I've never had tires on this truck, and they were due. They were, by date code, they were 18 years old. So it definitely rides better, drives better. So I'm happy about that, especially considering I'm going to take this on a 2-hour drive to go pick up, hopefully, 2 new propane tanks. What we're going to find out right now is whether both tanks will fit in at the same time, or if I'm going to have to make 2 different trips. The content we're bringing you today is on our 2 500-gallon propane tanks that we have purchased for the property. These are new tanks. They haven't been commissioned yet. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing as much as possible so that when our propane company comes in, they're doing as little as possible. They're going to charge me $100 an hour to come in and connect up tanks and stuff. However, what I am going to do is I'm going to set tank number 1. We're going to dig a trench. We're going to run the line for it. I have all the supplies to do this, and I actually feel rather comfortable doing this. So we're going to go ahead and do as much as we can, and then we're going to call the propane supplier, find out what they're looking at for timeline, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I think we've got our base set here. We seem to be pretty level, and should be ready to go to set this down now. So the only thing that I am probably going to do here is I'm going to put some tape on line with these feet so that I have sort of a, well, actually there's some marks right there. That'll tell me where the feet are, and that way when I'm lifting it up here, I have a better understanding of where we stand. So, all right, let's go get the skid loader, and let's see how hard this is to get into position. And we've got a little bit of a propane project going on. What we have is we are going to be installing two 500-gallon propane tanks, and they're going to be side by side. Once we remove our leased tank, we will get the new tank in place, and we're just going to kind of do a little quick show and tell here. So what we have is line. This goes to the house. This will drop down inside our trench. It will come up. It will connect to the bottom here with flares. And then from the tanks, each tank will have its own connection. And we will valve it so that we can shut the tanks off right here and kind of control which tank it draws from. And as you can see, we have our trench going all the way over to our tank, and we still have to flare everything here. I did one flare, but I pretty much assumed that the gas company is going to want to do the rest, and I think that's a safe assumption, so we'll let that go, let them do that. And then the reason why we have this vacuum going on is that these tanks are a couple years old. I wanted to verify that the vacuum was still present in them. They seem to be still present, so we're just running the vacuum pump and I'm looking to see here how deep of a vacuum we're getting. We're not getting too deep of a vacuum. So this is what our project is. Nothing too fun, but it will be nice to have propane throughout the year. This will provide us our total gas for the entire year. We'll fill up in the summer sometime during July or August or even June. I don't know when the best time to buy is. I've heard it's July. So that will be nice now to have a couple tanks.
Saving money.
Well, here we are at the end of the video, and I wanted to follow up with our two newly installed propane tanks. Just to recap, we have two brand new 500-gallon propane tanks, and our installation overall went pretty smoothly. What I ended up doing was we ran two new lines to each tank, and I had them come together into this valve system that I put together, and this will allow me to shut off each individual tank or control it and then send the propane to the house. Now this wasn't entirely needed because each regulator is set up so that in theory I could have both of them on. One would draw down, and then as the pressure dropped, the second regulator would take over because they are set at different, slightly different profiles for pressure. However, I kind of like this. It's like an old Chevy pickup, and there is nothing wrong with that. So that's what we're going to go with. Overall, everything went good. You know, we ended up, I had sort of talked about this line. They call this, the technical term is a riser. And we have plastic pipe that goes to the house. And then it comes through this riser, which is hollow. And then there's a connection here that then allows this mechanical connection to be made. I wasn't entirely aware of how that worked, but I am now. So you learn something new every day. That was kind of nice to see. But overall, everything went smoothly. When the propane company was here, they did a majority of the flares. I had 2 flares that were done, and we didn't have any leakage problems. Everything was tightened up and the gas is turned on, and we did our leak check at the regulator, and then of course we did the soap check. Everything tested out perfect. So that's a huge relief on my part, because I did do some of these joints, like right here, this manifold I put together. So overall, we have achieved what we were setting out to do, which was to have 2 new propane tanks that we own. And this is going to allow us to have them filled. And then over the course of winter, we'll draw down one, and then the second will get us through spring, and then we'll refill it again in the summer. So I think there's, you know, there's benefits to it. There's pricing benefits. There is, if there is another situation like last winter where perhaps there is a supply disruption, or prices go through the roof, or something strange like that, we're a little more insulated. And that's kind of what I was setting out to do, was to protect myself, to have the storage on site for what I bought. And you know, if everything works as planned, then we don't have to worry about that. But as many people have seen lately, it seems like nothing works as planned. So this is my little bit of insurance policy that will allow me to hopefully sleep a little better at night in the wintertime. We still have our mini split, which will provide heat down to -4 degrees. Unfortunately, it gets, you know, down to 30 below here. So it turns into, do you want to heat your house with wood, propane, or oil? So that's what we have. But it's been a long time coming. We started this process, obviously, when the leaves were just starting to emerge. And now we are 1 week before the 4th of July, and we've been wrapped up with this for about 1 week. So it was kind of a slow process, but it was done right. It was done legitimately. We have all the certificates of inspection, and everything's passed, so that was good. It was not necessarily cheap, but I don't know. Now that it's done, I'm happy. So thanks for watching. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. We've got more random content coming out. Lately, it seems like I have a ton of automotive related stuff, and part of that has to do with maybe an aging fleet of vehicles, but we do have some more interesting things depending on how you look at it. We're going to be installing a basketball hoop, or I'm going to be creating a video on the basketball hoop that we installed. We also have, we're going to be doing some other random stuff. So stay tuned. We got some outdoor related activity on the property. If you're not familiar with the channel, we live in far northern Wisconsin on 20 acres. We are 25 miles from the nearest sizable grocery store, and we're about 10 miles from any sort of small convenience type grocery store. So we're in a very rural setting, and so a lot of the stuff we do, kind of the purpose of the channel is to just highlight the various things that we do, because we have to, of where we live and that sort of thing. So by all means, please consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.